Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be going over John Wick 4, a review from, I guess, my perspective. A martial artist and a follower of Christ for a long time. We're going to reach into this movie and see what we can glean out of it that's good and bad. I think the bad's kind of obvious, but the good actually might not be so obvious. The movie is the #1 movie in the world at the moment, at least when this video is being made. So that says something about its success. What draws people to that, as opposed to everything else that's in the theaters. There's a lot of other things that you can be watching. That's for sure. You don't have to go out and watch a movie in the theaters. I actually made it a point to. To be honest, I really like the martial arts in the John Wick films. First and second one, by far, are amazing. Third, sort of borderline absurd, but not even counting the end when he fell down that building. But just the physical exhaustion, the amount of pain he was in to do what he did. It was like borderline unbelievable. This movie, John Wick 4, it pushes that over the edge. He's a 56-year-old man. He should fight exactly like one. And I think at the second movie, no, it's the third, he's actually cut up so bad. He needs to, he asks the doctor for help, and the doctor gives him medication to ignore the pain. So that makes sense, right? You can at least understand that there are points where people can get in a medical sense where they just ignore pain. So there you go. That answers that problem. In John Wick 4, however, the guy gets thrown down like 200 sets of stairs, and he falls down like a 4-story high-rise or something like that, hitting something on the way down. Now, the hitting something probably stopped his fall. So to me, especially the stairs moment, okay, well, he's no longer in the realm of reality. Now he's just superhero. It was a bit too much. I even raised my hand in the theater. I'm like, really? More? And everybody started laughing. Everybody agreed. It was quite absurd. So I don't know what really caused the creator to add that into the scene. Stairs are extremely dangerous. You will break fingers and limbs. And he got hit by 3 cars, something like that. Now, I understand you can roll a car. What I mean by that is cars coming at you, you can jump and roll up the hood, and so you don't take impact damage. That makes sense. I've done that myself. Unfortunately, however you want to look at it, before, so I understand the merit of that, but the stairs were too much. They really were. But anyway, so that's just what I wanted to get out of the way. The martial arts was amazing. Probably some of the most realistic stuff. Now, I take Ishinryu karate, so I understand the front 2 knuckle thing. I don't know if you could see it there, but mine are definitely calloused, because that's what you practice on the Makiwara board, which is what he was punching in the beginning of the movie. Kettlebells are my go-to for workout. I'm only 41, but they are probably the best thing to keep me grounded, since I'm 5'6", usually shorter than my sparring opponents. If I want them to fly over me, which they do, and I want to be like that lower center of balance, that makes sense. You use kettlebells to make yourself rooted into the ground while you're slinging this metal around. So it really helps out your ability to root yourself down. So those were good. His accuracy, he hits in the head all the time. Okay, sure. I'm actually going to it's called Protect Your House. It's a fence course for churches and schools, that kind of thing. Because I want to learn how you deal with, a shooter coming in, because maybe it's not as rampant. Well, it is more rampant, but it's not as common as you might think. But why not be prepared, right? It's good training to have, so why not do that? Found out that even you're a constant marksman there, if you try to hit one person out of a crowd, which I think is why John Wick in the crowd waits till they're right next to him, but you're gonna hit somebody else. If you are armed security, you're probably gonna hit the other people if you're trying to hit a target, even if you're trained. So what you do is you take something and you throw it at them, and the throwing of the gun that John Wick does, that seems pretty legit, because the idea is if there's one of them and more of you, which you never see in this movie, but maybe that's kind of the fantasy element of it. He's a tactical genius, so he doesn't put himself in these positions. One person, you throw stuff at him because they flinch or they dodge, even if they have a gun, and then you swarm him and you tackle him and you wrestle the gun. And that's the swarm technique. Police officers use this all the time. You get him down on the ground where he can't move, get the gun away, that kind of thing. But you don't try to shoot him. You don't have, at least in our church, we don't have armed guards everywhere. That was a little bit too much. Because it says something maybe it doesn't. If you will go in a church and there's people with guns standing all over the place, you might have to in some places. If it paints that kind of a picture, I would guard God's house. Personally, I would take a bullet for the pastor or my family, right? It's a good question to ask yourself what you would die for. But John Wick, the other thing that has taken away from at least the storyline of the entire thing is the reason. Like Nietzsche said, "He who has any why can withstand almost any how." So it's vindictive. Somebody killed his dog. Okay, that's the first one. Second one, someone blew up his house, and he's honestly tired of that. The third one, he had to commit a sin to stop the sinning. Maybe something like that. And the fourth one, he needs to get out, so he thinks he's going to kill everybody. Well, he can't. The spirit of man just does not die. It really doesn't. Regardless of how much you kill it, there always seem to be more. And John Wick, as a character, has already mastered assassination and combat, tactical combat with a gun. It's mastered. No one is as good as him. Straight up. That's just how it is. Even the final enemies, they have to fight him, they barely do it, and he's exhausted. But there's another thing that Nietzsche said. He said, when you are tired old, already defeated ideas will come back to haunt you. And this is you already rationalizing maybe some of the things you've done in the past, some forgiveness you've given to other people or even to yourself for sins you made, and you get tired, and then all that comes back. That's rough, man. But what I really wanted to make a point of was actually this kind of aspect of it. It's the fourth movie where this becomes, I think, highly relevant. Besides the rule that the hotels are like the safe spot, it's the way that John gets out, is that you can challenge someone to a duel, and they have to accept, and then you divvy out the consequences. I think they said something like that was to prevent anarchy from happening, because you need rules. Rules separate you from the animals. If you don't have rules in a power-based society, at least minimal rules, when there's a table instead of a dictator, people just kill each other all over the place. And why even try to hide it? Why even try to mask it? So there's rules, and the thing is, everybody just about accepts the transcendent law that they all go by. Now, you can't really tell if it's written down somewhere or the older people have it memorized. It's tough to tell, but maybe you will learn that eventually. I don't know. What about that old guy that was also missing his ring finger? He seems pretty interesting. But the whole idea of appealing to the law as above you, and the mafia even do this, like good luck lying to them. Right? There's a sense of trust that you might kill, murder, deal in drugs, but if you lie and don't tell the truth, it's like suddenly that flipped the switch. Honor is a huge thing too. It is what makes humans just a little bit higher than tooth and claw, which is what nature is supposedly read into. But not really, because if you look at all the animals, it's not survival of the fittest. It's survival of perhaps who can demonstrate the most competence, because like cats don't kill each other. We outside cats, you guys probably do as well. Dogs really don't kill each other. They lie defeated and they lie prostrate. And then, okay, hierarchy's been established. Nobody needs to die. Because even if animals would kill each other, and people as well, on even terms, there's a cost. And that cost is physical. Like, no one wants to die, so you're going to do your best to make sure the other one doesn't kill you. Cats, if they fight to the death, the other cat's going to come out quite scratched up, if that makes sense. So that's a high cost, so why not just play a game that doesn't involve death? I mean, it could lead to that, maybe. But that's what the transcendent order does. That's what the transcendent law does. And, like, animals are under this as well. At least to a point. There was also a point when that older gentleman put on like a robe. And that's something we have in our modern culture that most people, including myself until I read Joseph Campbell, point out. Why do judges wear robes in our secular community? It's a symbol. It's a symbol of authority. You need those symbols of authority. That's what language is. Some words mean things others do not. And some words have more power. That's why curse words are there. One of the reasons why, anyway. Some words are more sacred. Some words have different emotional responses. Same with the people's outfits. Why does John Wick always look dressed up? He is a professional. And it is kind of cool that he always wears that. Even when he has the nunchucks flicking around, it's always kind of cool that he just maintains that professional attire. That's what he does. So why is that important? Well, I would guess the progressive message of totalitarian inclusion that's been in like all of our media is under the assumption that the reason things are the way they are is because power has dominated. Not because of reason, not because of aiming to God, not because of belief, not because of human dignity, but power. Those in power have oppressed those below and keep them in hate and in turmoil. And that's Marxism 101. Dude, Marx was a really weird dude. If you keep the people fighting, they don't have a shared aim. They have constant division. And constant division, constant destruction of unity, of definition, of identity. Just confusion. You don't even have to destroy it. Just confuse the heck out of it. The answer to that is totalitarian certainty. While you guys are fighting about gender and everything else, and we will defund the police, and here we come with our guns. And now, what are you going to do? Like, fight back? They take the power role, they use it to make you confused and produce turmoil. Then they flip it and use the power on you while you're confused. It's a neat trick, it really is. But this movie is pretty awesome, and you can relate to it too, because the blind man in the movie has family that he values above anything else. And he would take a bullet for her, or kill for her. His daughter, that is. John really doesn't have that. He just wants out. The idea that both of their cases are pled through transcendent law, which is not governed by power. I think that's one of the coolest messages that we can have in any movie. I know it's bloody. I know there's killing. Desacralizes life. But that is the underground. He is like the under-hero. You want to see him succeed. And why is he there in the first place? Why are all these people trying to... And they're falling by their own conviction that he is worth killing because he's worth money. And what wins in the end? Does money win in the end? No, he actually... I didn't watch the ending credits. I hear there's some good stuff at the end scene, so that's my own fault. But it's the law that gets him out of the whole thing, which I think is extremely fascinating. He doesn't get out through force of will. He doesn't kill the leader. Well, he does. And that gets him out. The law sets him free. The transcendent law sets him free. And that points right to Christianity, points right to what is etched onto every one of us, that pulls to us, that we can understand that. We can understand a common shared law. The best one that was ever given to us, 66 books, 40 authors, written over the period of like 5,000 years or something like that. Nothing has produced a better country. And the fact that that is etched into a movie like John Wick, it's mind-blowing, man. Anyway, there's some major spoilers there. Sorry, I'm gonna go see it again. It's worth seeing. So anyway, if you want to find out where there are other elements of this hero's journey that's etched into everything we do, check out this video that YouTube recommends. We can keep going down this rabbit hole.